Good day, folks. Welcome to Serenity Garden. I wanted to discuss with you ways in which to save water because of the current drought and the global warming and the heat that occurred in Canada and in Oregon and such, and across over to the northern states across the U.S. And so I would like to discuss ways to save water. There are over $100 million that can be spent just to create a desalination plant. Those cost a lot of money and uses up a lot of energy just to remove salts from water from the ocean, and increases our carbon output. And the earliest that we can get water from these desalination plants is in 2022 if they start now. So the best thing to do is to figure out ways to save water. So like for some of the ways that you can do that are, number one, while you're waiting for the water to warm up, collect the water that comes out of your shower head or comes out of your faucet before you shower, and set that aside so that you can flush the toilet later on with it. And that saves you roughly about 2 gallons per shower. And if not, you can set it aside to water your plants. Or I saw that in some episode there was a lady that would save it, Pepper Princess. She would save her water and wash the clothes that she wore that day. So if you're living by yourself, you can manage to do that. You can wash your clothes daily instead of saving it for one huge load. Or you can use it to scrub your floors, wash your clothes with. As I said, have others shower after yourself to conserve that 2 gallons, so that the energy and the amount of money and water used until that water gets heated up can be saved if you shower and then direct your children or somebody to shower right after you, so you won't have to save yet another 2 gallons and another 2 gallons or use up the gallons of water. And have the tankless water heaters. That's another way if you have the money to spend on those. Use less water to boil pasta. It takes less time, energy, gas, and electricity to heat up the water if you have less water to begin with. And another thing you could do is steam foods or use water to boil things. And then afterwards you can use that water to kill weeds by pouring that hot water. Or conversely, you could wait till the water cools down and then you can use that water to water your plants with. Especially if you're boiling vegetables or steaming vegetables, that water has nutrients from your vegetables and you can pour them onto your plants. And another way, the third, is to obtain a gray water system. Fourth, let lawns dry out and just use drinking water for its main and most important purpose. Rather than greening your lawn, use it for drinking and living off of and surviving off of. And fifth reason, when washing your vegetables or fruit, use the water, collect the water in a basin, and then use that water to water your plants. Or if you don't trust that water, you can use it to water your decorative plants, like flowers and things like that. And you can have also a sixth way is to have a water catchment system. You have to have gutters, rain barrels, cisterns, and you could start small like we did, which was with just clean jugs from our milk jugs. And so that's how it's possible to grow your own food. And then when you grow your own food, you use less water compared to those huge big ag fields where there's tons of water that gets sprayed with the sprinklers, and they get a lot of the water gets evaporated, and you can save the environment that way. And then the food doesn't get shipped to your house to different people's houses far away. Another way, the eighth method, is to limit your showers. Turn off the water when you're brushing your teeth or when you're putting soap on your body, and only turn it back on afterwards to rinse the soap off. And number 9, you can get energy efficient things such as dishwashers, washers, and they use a lot less water nowadays and energy than the older models. And number 10, get mulch for your plants, because when rainwater or when you water your plants, the water remains in the dirt underneath the mulch, and the mulch serves as a layer that holds the water, absorbs it, and it takes a long time to evaporate it out. So there will be times where it rains, and a week later I'll pull aside the mulch and it's still wet beneath the mulch a week later, because it simply holds the water like a sponge. And also, regarding the dishes, the dishwashers and laundry, make sure that your loads are full before you run a load. So make sure that the dishwasher is full of dishes and that the washer is full of clothes before you run a load. So those are the ways in which we try to conserve water around here, and we hope that we can manage throughout this season, which is known to be it's going to be one of the hottest and driest seasons. And I hope that you let your lawns go brown, or they don't even recommend xeriscaping, which is changing your landscape to pavers or stone or pebbles or gravel, or having cacti and succulents, because it becomes a heat sink, and therefore the sun blasts on the ground and on the concrete and things like that, which you don't have to water, but then in the end it absorbs all the heat from the sun, and there's no place for that heat to go, so it becomes a heat sink. So it may end up more detrimental to the environment. So when possible, try to grow things densely, and the denseness of things will keep parts of your plants shaded, and also absorbs the water and keeps the water from evaporating too quickly. And those are other ways in which you can keep your garden green without using up too much water. So folks, I'm not gonna lie, it looks pretty nice and green, and I am fortunate because I've been stockpiling on mulch. I've been getting wood chips from the city and from passerby people that are having their trees cut, and I asked for the wood chips. So, but I'm not gonna lie, I've been trying to water my garden every other day or every third day, trying to save more water, but also some of the gardens suffered. I mean, these sunflowers are shriveled up, dried up. I should just cut them down. And a lot of things have suffered. What was beautiful zinnias ended up getting dried up, and here my bachelor's button, they suffered, and I don't think they're going to return. So one of the things that I do in my garden is I try to water wisely. So I will water it in the night, even though they say the best time to water plants is early in the morning. But I do that because it's so hot and dry in California, Southern California especially, that I had to figure out a way to save my plants from dying and let them have the time to absorb as much water as they can before the hot sun evaporates it all. And so I water sometimes at night and water deeply, and then I skip a day or two, and then I'll water again, so that way I'm not just pouring tons of water daily into the ground, because I'm relying on the wood chips that I've been collecting all this time. And I'll allow things to grow densely and packed and shade things out, and it'll help kind of keep things like microclimates cooler down below underneath things, and keep the water in longer. We don't have a gray water system yet, but someday we will be able to save up and afford it, in which case we've already begun saving water. Like I said, when I wash produce or something like that, I'll save the water. When I wash my eggs before I crack them open, a lot of times that water gets reused to water my fruit trees, and that way you get a chance to use your water at least twice. Or like when we went camping, we tried to do the camp style dishes. So you just have a tub of dirty dishes that you're kind of soaking, and then you scrub it with soap, and it's soapy water, and then in another tub you're rinsing out that soapy dirty water off, and you've got clean dishes. And that's one way to save water, because you use a lot less water. We do a lot of chopping and dropping in the fall or winter, so a lot of these thick brush, we'll start cutting them down and just feeding the plants down below, and also that keeps the roots warm, and it reuses the greenery in our garden, and it doesn't get sent to another location. So that's another way to keep the moisture in, because this will still have moisture in it when we chop and drop. Also, when we hauled in this mulch pile, we got it fresh from the truck right after the city folks chopped the trees in the on the street, and they immediately chipped the wood, and it still had green leaves, and the wood chips the wood from the bark and everything, the tree trunks, and it was all mixed together, and it was pretty moist at the end of May. So we just hauled it in here, and it's great because it still had moisture content. So I'm pretty sure down below, it may look pretty dry on the surface here, but down below, if I were to dig, it may have some moisture, but most of all, that moisture that's trapped under there is helping this pile decay, and helping the fungal community to multiply and to break down this mulch pile faster.